Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and as you guys can tell by the title, yes, PC builds are back, but with a little bit of a twist. From now on, when I do a PC build, I'm gonna do one build that's for the United States and another build that's for a different region. We can mix and match. I still haven't figured out the exact nuances of how I'm gonna do builds going forward, but I wanted to move away from just the typical one build a video style. And a lot of you guys have always asked me to cover different regions, and I want to do that, but I don't want to be making multiple videos for different regions, so we're just gonna bundle them together. I'm gonna first cover the build for you guys in the States, and then we've got another build for you guys in the UK. A lot of the parts will cross over, some of them are different. In this video, we're gonna be taking a look at a $500 build for those of you guys in the States, and for those of you guys in the UK, we're gonna be looking at a build that's roughly 450 pound. Like I said, there is some crossover with the parts. These are roughly the same performance, but I did have to change some things up in the UK build so you guys get a better value for your money, and I'll cover that after the US build. So let's start things off with this excellent $500 gaming PC build that's great for 1080p gaming. Starting things off with the CPU, you're gonna be looking to pick up an AMD Ryzen 3 1200 3.1 GHz quad-core processor. Right now, the cheapest Ryzen 3 is around $105, although this CPU goes on sale all the time. If you guys keep up with my PC hardware deals videos, you'll notice that the Ryzen 3 goes on sale all the time for around $95, and if you can find it at that price point, it is such a good deal because it is a very capable quad-core processor. I've mentioned it before that I love the Ryzen 3 CPUs because it's really opened the door for a lot more versatility in budget PC building, because even for this low of a price, you're still getting a very high quality quad-core CPU, and with the packed-in CPU cooler, you can stick with that for now, and it just offers a lot of performance while still being relatively cheap, and you can put that money towards a better GPU without bottlenecking it or anything like that. Moving on to the motherboard, you're looking to pick up the MSI-B350M Pro VD Plus Micro ATX AM4 motherboard. Right now, this motherboard is available for around $60. There is a $10 off mail-in rebate on Newegg, so you can end up getting it for around $52 after shipping and handling, and this is a lower-end motherboard, but that's kind of what you have to get in a budget build. It's a micro ATX board. That's not a main issue. The real deterrent from this motherboard is the fact that it only has 2 RAM slots up to DDR4 3200 and 32 gigabytes of max memory supported. So if you want to get 16 gigabytes of RAM, you have 2 options. You can either pick up 16 gigabytes of RAM outright, or you can get one 8 gigabyte stick and then get another 8 gigabyte stick down the line. For this build, I just decided to go with 8 gigabytes of RAM because it is a lower end build, and 8 gigabytes of RAM is still pretty serviceable in today's video games. It's just that some games are starting to recommend 16, so that's not a bad idea to get 16 gigabytes right now, but 8 gigabytes still does the trick. And with this motherboard, you're not gonna be able to go for a Crossfire or SLI configuration, but that's not a major deal. I've always said that instead of going for a Crossfire or SLI solution, you should just sell your GPU and then buy a better GPU. That's gonna get you more performance for your money. And as far as SATA connectors go, you've got 4 SATA 6 gigabit per second ports, and you do have onboard USB 3 headers, so all in all, a pretty nice motherboard for the price. Moving on to the memory, which has become a big obstacle with PC building. While the Ryzen 3 has opened a lot of doors for versatility in PC building, the price of RAM, especially DDR4 RAM, has closed some of those doors. Still, you can pick up the crucial Ballistix Sport LT, 8 gigabytes of RAM, 2 4 gigabyte sticks, DDR4 2400 megahertz at a whopping $92. Yes, this is expensive. If you look for a sale, you can get it a little bit cheaper than this, but not much cheaper. 16 gigabytes of RAM is similarly very expensive, so yes, RAM is a big investment right now. That has become a big obstacle in PC building, especially at lower end budgets, but you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta get at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. You cannot fly by with 4 gigabytes. That is just out of the question in 2017. It stings paying this kind of price, but like I said, you have to do what you have to do. Moving right along to the storage, you're just gonna go with a mechanical hard drive in this build. The Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB is still the standard bearer for a quality and cheap hard drive. $47 is what you're paying to get this hard drive, and that's a pretty good price. I know SSDs are becoming more and more common in lower end builds, but still at a $500 budget, this is an area where the higher RAM prices and higher GPU prices are holding you back a little bit. But with the Caviar Blue 1TB, you can still get by no problem. This is a great hard drive as an entry, and down the line, if you do want to pick up an SSD, they're only getting cheaper and cheaper and bigger in terms of storage size, so that's an upgrade you can easily make down the line. Moving on to the most important part of a gaming PC build, the video card, you're going to be picking up an MSI GeForce GTX 1050 Ti 4GB 4GB GPU. Right now, this is $180 on Newegg, but there is a $25 mail-in rebate attached to that. After paying the $5 shipping and handling, you will end up paying $160 for this GPU, which is a pretty good price. Now, if you want to shy away from the mail-in rebate, I do want to give you guys some other options. The GTX 1063GB model often goes on sale for around $200 flat. So if you're paying $180 for the 1050 Ti, you have no intention of using that mail-in rebate, it might be a better idea to spend the extra $20 and get a GTX 1060. That's an option as well. Or if you just want to save the $20, the 1050 Ti for $180 isn't a bad option. There is also the RX 570, but that's a little bit more expensive, but it is a 4GB GPU and it does perform really well. So if you do have the extra cash to spend, that's a good option as well. I'll leave links for all the other variable options if you guys want in the description box down below. Moving on to the power supply, right now we have a great deal on the Rosewill HIVE 550 80+ bronze certified power supply. It's semi-modular. It is $45 on Newegg, which is already a very solid price, but you've also got a $25 mail-in rebate, and if you take advantage of that, $20 for a 550 watt power supply that's semi-modular, that is absolutely great. 550 watts is going to power this build no problem. Even if you want to take the GPU to a 1060, a 570, or even a 1070, 550 watts is a suitable amount, and the fact that it's semi-modular is great. At this price point, you cannot go wrong with this power supply. Finally, for the case for this build, I'm going to give you guys a couple of different options. The one that I'll have in the PC part picker is the Rosewill Challenger S ATX mid-tower case, $40 for a pretty solid case all around. In a budget like this, you really can't splurge on a higher end case. There's really no reason to. You really got to focus on performance and getting hardware that's going to perform up to par, so the case is something you can skimp out on a little bit. Other options, you can get the vanilla Rosewill Challenger, which is $10 cheaper at $30. That's a great mid-tower case as well. And then Newegg has also got the cooler Master HAF 912 for $60, but you've got a $20 mail-in rebate attached to it, and $40 for that case is really freaking good. But yeah, that's got a mail-in rebate attached, so that might not be up everyone's alley. Just wanted to give you guys those options if you are interested. Once again, links for the variable options will be in the description box. So that wraps up the US build. It comes in at around $520.68 after the mail-in rebates. The thing is, with a lot of these parts, especially with things like the GPU, the CPU, motherboard, even the hard drive, you can find better deals than what is available right now. As I mentioned, the Ryzen 3 1200 is readily available for $95, so you can save a bit of money if you're a little bit crafty. Moving right along to the UK build, which a lot of you guys have asked me to start covering. Here's hoping that this will be consistent, and I give you guys more and more builds coming from UK. The parts that are crossover from the last build, I'm not going to talk about them too much because they are generally the same thing. However, there are some differences, so I want to cover that for sure. This build comes in at around £458. Once again, if you look for discounts, you can probably knock it down to around that $440, $430 range. So for the CPU, you're going to once again go with the AMD Ryzen 3 1200 3.1 GHz quad-core processor. Just a great entry-level processor. It's £89, available at ARIA PC, and a great pickup for any budget-oriented build. For the motherboard, we're going to go in a different route. The ASRock AB350M-HDV Micro ATX AM4 motherboard is around £58. Once again, feature-wise, it's very similar to Micro ATX board AM4. 2 memory slots, which is a disappointment, but at a budget build, that's what you're going to get. Up to DDR4 3200, 32 gigabytes of max memory supported, no Crossfire SLI support, and 4 SATA 60 ports. With the memory, we're once again changing it up a little bit. The G.Skill Ripjaws Series 8GB, 24GB 6 at DDR4 2400 MHz is available for around £59 over on Amazon UK. Solid price. That's the cheapest DDR4 RAM available at this very moment at the time of the recording, so you gotta go with that. Storage, once again, only a hard drive, and that'll be the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB, available for around £38 over on ARIA PC. 1TB of hard drive, already went over that. Like I said, if you do want to upgrade to an SSD, that is something you can get down the line. I would say stick with a 1TB hard drive for now. That's going to be able to store all your games, and with how big file sizes are, you've got games like Final Fantasy 15 being 170 gigabytes or something like that. You're going to need that terabyte if you are playing the latest games. For the GPU, went a different route with this one. The Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1050 Ti 4GB model is available for £143 on ARIA PC. The MSI model is about £20 more expensive over in the UK, so I would just recommend get the Gigabyte one. Save a little bit of money there, and it's still going to act as a fantastic 1080p GPU. Power supply, you're going to go with the EVGA 500 watt 80+ certified, £43 on ARIA PC. Once again, a pretty standard power supply. This is not semi-modular, so cable management isn't going to be as smooth as compared to the US build, but still a very solid power supply for a good price. And finally, for the case on the UK build, you're looking at the Deepcool TESSERACT BF ATX mid-tower mid-tower case for around £27 over on eBuyer. Once again, this follows a similar pattern as in the US build. Like I said, the case is something you can forego on a little bit when it comes to budget PC building. At the end of the day, as long as it houses all your components, that's really all you need out of a case at a budget price point. You don't need to go for great aesthetical style. That's really not important and should be at the bottom of your priority list, and this still acts as a really solid mid-tower case for a solid price. £27 over at eBuyer. So that's gonna wrap up the UK build. So like I said, just over £458 for that. If you look for sales, you'll probably get it a little bit cheaper. But there you have it. Both the US and UK builds are great for 1080p gaming. You don't want to push anything more than that, but at 1080p, you can play the latest games, solid settings, solid frame rates. You might have to lower a setting here and there, but for the most part, if you're playing at a mix of ultra and high settings, you're gonna get quality frame rates out of these machines. Maybe not 60 FPS locked at some of the higher end games, but you're probably not expecting that if you're on a really tight budget like this. So that concludes that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Yes, it's a little bit more time consuming, but I think you guys are gonna enjoy this a little bit more than my old style of builds. And if we're getting back to doing builds, might as well do them a different way, a way that caters towards more of my audience. And if you guys want to see me cover any other regions, of course, leave that in the comments section down below. I know some of you guys are gonna say Australia, Canada, already on the back of my mind. And of course, if you guys have any requests for future videos, the comment section is where to put that at. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.